Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello, this is Muhammad Imran. This lecture is the extension of my previous lectures, which were about context and shared culture knowledge. We will develop from now some tools which can be applied when you're doing discourse analysis of any piece of text. Now, the text may be literary or the text may be non literary text. Now, those who want to do their researches in discourse analysis, this lecture and upcoming lecture would really help them to know the basic notion of the tools in discourse analysis. These tools are taken from the book of Paul James G. Discourse Analysis. To understand this lecture fully, you need to watch and listen my previous lecture on the same topic. So let's begin our today's lecture, which is about Deixis. Tool number 1. Grammar Interlude 1, Deixis. When Margaret in the example in section 1.2 says, as we discussed in our previous lecture, this example, when she says, go over there, he's drinking, go over there inside, she makes crucial use of words linguistic refer to deictic, pointing words. So what are deictic words? Deictic words are pointing words when you point someone or something. Deictic are words whose referent must be determined from the context. So deictic are those words whose referents are taken from the context, in which context you are. Common deictic words fall into 3 categories of person. So deictic words may be of person deictic, for example, I, she, he, you, we, they. Or deictic words may be of place. For example, we say here, there, this, or that. Or deictic words may be of time. For example, now, then, yesterday, and today. So these words are also called shifters because their references shift with each different context of use. Let's make some example of deictic words now. Here we have some more elaboration of the deictic words. Let's discuss. If I say Brad Pitt likes chocolate cake, you know the meaning of the cake is quite obvious. You know the meaning of chocolate and you know that who Brad Pitt refers to. But if I say that he likes it, here you have no idea who he refers to. You have no idea what does the word it refers to. So you have no idea who he refers to or what it refers to except by considering the context either in terms of what was said previously or what and who are present in the environment. So in order to know the meaning of the deictic word he and the deictic word it, you need to know the context. That what was said previously, who said it, where it was said. So it means that the meaning of the deictic words are derived from the context, or the meanings are determined by the context. In which context it was said, who said it, and when it was said. Now, for example, when Margaret says, go over there, he's drinking, go over there inside, the listeners can only figure out what over there refers to by gesturing and what he refers to by the previous mention of the Don Chebu name. As we pointed out in section 1.2, Mayan has a word there that means close and one that means far. So the word there, it may mean close, or the word there, it may mean far in Mayan's culture. So you may know the meaning of the word there when somebody point out to something or someone, or you may know when something has previously been said. Right? So simply we can conclude that to know the meaning of deictic words, it is important to know the context. That who said it, where it was said, and when it was said. Otherwise, you won't be able to know the meaning of deictic words such as he, and it. For example, if I say that I am teaching deictic words, so here I refer to Mr. Muhammad Imran. If someone else is teaching deictic words, so there I will refer to that particular person. Or if there's another person and he or she claims that I am teaching deictic word, then I would refer to he or she or that particular person. So it means that whoever use I would refer to that particular person, right? Or if I say, for example, that today is March 26, 2022. And I say that today is my birthday. So I am referring to 26 March 2022. If tomorrow I say that today is my birthday, then today will refer to 27 March 2022. Or suppose if I said it yesterday that today is my birthday, then today would refer to 24th March 2022. Or if I say, for example, this in the month of May, that today is my birthday, then today will refer to 25th May 2022. So you see that today is also a deictic word and it refers in the meaning would be taken in a particular context. If, for example, I say that yesterday I was ill, so yesterday refers to 24th March 2022. Deictic ties speech and writing to context. If listeners do not correctly figure out what deictic refers to using contextual information, they do not understand what it meant or they misunderstand it. So it means that in order to understand the meaning of deictic word, you need to know contextual or you need to gain contextual information in which context these deictic words are used. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand the meaning of these deictic words. At the same time, when speakers use deictics, they assume that their listeners can figure out what the deictic refers to. So on the other hand, when the speakers use these deictic words, so they assume and they perceive, they believe that the listener will understand the meaning of these deictic words. That is why in the beginning or in the previous lecture we discussed that language at the same time it must be fast and clear. So in order to fast the language, you need to use deictic words. And you have in mind that if I'm using deictic words, my listener will understand the meaning of these deictic words. For example, if I come up to you and say, she is at it again, I assume our previous talk about some woman and her antic or salient enough to you that I do not need to name her, because I know that who is she, right? As well as you know that who is she. So if I say she's at it again, so I assume that you will understand that who she refers to. And I understand that if I say at it again, that what it again refers to. Because previously we have talked about such lady, right? However, the distinction between deictic words like this and non-deictic word like cake. So cake is non-deictic words because the meaning of the cake is not determined in a context, while the meaning of this is determined in context. So is while clear in linguistic. In linguistic, it's clear. When we say cake, so everybody knows the meaning of the cake. But if we say this, right, so not everyone knows the meaning of the word this because this is deictic word. So it is clear in linguistics but not clear in everyday life situation. Not always all that clear when we get an actual use of language. When language is used or when language is in practice, so then it's not easy to differentiate or to make distinction between deictic and non-deictic words. For example, compare the following two utterances. John had been drinking, so I drove him along. Now, you see, their drinking is actually non-deictic word. But in some culture, drinking may mean alcohol, while in other culture, drinking may mean like simple beverage, right? Or while in other contexts, drinking may mean drinking water or tea or a soft drink. So it means that even that the meaning of non-deictic word drinking can create confusion for the people when it is used in actual situation. So I drove him home, and John was drinking too fast and dribble it all down in the front of his shirt. So you see that when I say John had been drinking, so I drove him home, it means that he was taking alcohol, okay, or he was taking wine. Here, drinking means this. And the same word drinking, when it is used in another situation, John was drinking too fast and dribble it all down the front of his shirt. So here we are talking about simple drinking like beverage, or we mean like water, we mean like tea, not alcohol. Because so we know then the meaning of the word drinking also from the context. Even it is non-deictic word. In many contexts, drinking in the first utterance will mean drinking alcohol, and in the second it could be any beverage. So even with non-deictic term, there is often an element of having to use context to figure out what they mean specifically. So sometimes even when we use non-deictic word, so the meaning are derived from the context. You need to know that in which context the word is used. So even the word drinking is non-deictic word, but still it has the element of the context to figure it out. What does the word drinking mean? Here we have another example of non-deictic word which has the element of deictic one. Let's discuss it. To take another example, consider that in the coffee spilled, go get a mop. So from go get a mop, we know that the meaning of the coffee is a liquid one, right? We are talking about a liquid, and in the coffee spilled, go get a broom. So go get a broom, we know that we are referring to grain. The coffee here refers to grain. So we are using non-deictic word, the coffee, and in one example, the coffee refers to a liquid one. And how we know that the coffee refers to a liquid one? We know from the context, go get a mop, because you require a mop to clean the coffee. While in another example, when we say the coffee spilled, go get a broom, so you need a broom in order to clean the grain. So here in the second example, the coffee refers to grain. So the coffee is actually non-deictic word, but it has the element of deictic one. And you need to know the context, in which context the word coffee is used, in order to know the meaning of the word coffee. So we are talking about grain. It is the words mop and the broom that serve as the context. They tell us what coffee mean in these sentences specifically. And an utterance like the coffee spilled, clean it up. Only the physical context or something said previously would tell you what was meant specifically by the coffee. So the physical context tell you whether the coffee refers to like liquid or the coffee refers to grain. So it's very important that even that with non-deictic words, we need context, or sometimes non-deictic words have elements of deictic ones. Here you can see mop versus broom. So in order to clean the coffee, and if the coffee refers to like a liquid, then you need mop. And if the coffee refers to grain, then you need broom. This doesn't mean that words like drink and coffee, and indeed all words meaning is determined from context. We can't say that all words meaning are determined from context. So such content words do give us more contentful meaning to determine what they refer to in context than do real deictic. So then we have sometimes we have deictic words and sometimes we have non-deictic words. So non-deictic words most often they give us contentful meaning. Most often the meaning would be contentful, and sometimes these non-deictic words would give us meaning which would have element of deictic one. But the primarily function of non-deictic word to give us contentful meaning. So, but it doesn't mean that in actual use all language has deictic like properties. So all words do not have deictic like properties. Some words are there which have deictic like properties, as we talked earlier. For example, coffee, and for example, drinking we earlier mentioned. But not all words have deictic properties. So this definition, the definite article, the English the function like deictic. If I say to you out of the blue, the woman is at it again, instead of she's at it again. So the definite article the, then it is a deictic one because something has already been mentioned. So if I say to you out of the blue, the woman is at it again, instead of she's at it again. So here the word the is a deictic one because you know that which particular woman I refer to. In both cases, you have to figure out from the introduction we have had previously who the woman or she refers to. The definite article the function like a deictic since it means that the speaker assumes the listener already knows from the context or previous knowledge what the noun phrase it is referred to. The indefinite article a and does not have such a deictic function. So indefinite article a and n, they don't have properties of deictic word, while the definite article the, it does have the property of deictic one. If I say a woman came in, I am not assuming the listener already knows who I am referring to. If I say a woman came in, so I assume that the speakers do not know that which woman I am referring to. If I say the woman came in, I am assuming the listener does already know who I am referring to or can figure it out. So if I say the woman came in, so I assume that which particular woman I refer and the listener will understand. And if I say a woman came in, so here I do not assume that my listener will know that which particular woman I am referred to. Simply we can say that the word indefinite article a doesn't have the property of deictic one, while the definite article the, it does have the property of deictic one. Now here we will introduce Deixis tool. We will now introduce the Deixis tool. This tool serves as one important aid in using the fill in the tool, which will be discussed in section 1.3. So tool number one, the Deixis tool. For any communication, ask how deictic are being used to tie what is said to context and to make assumptions about what listeners already know or can figure out. So when you're doing discourse analysis, okay, there is an introduction or communication between two people, so you have to describe how deictic are used, how they are used by the speaker, and how the speaker assumes that the listener will understand the meaning of these deictic words. Consider uses of the definite article in the same way. Also ask what deictic like properties any regular words are taking on in context. you have to also focus that what words are there which are non-deictic, but these non-deictic words have the property of deictic one. For example, the word the, which is a non-deictic word, but it has the property of deictic one. So, what aspect of their specific meaning need to be filled in the from context? We will see this later task again later in the situated meaning tool in section 2. Right now, we will talk and we will discuss tool 1 or deictic words. Thank you so much for being with me and watching and listening to this lecture. It was all about this lecture and the focus of this lecture to identify and know about deictic words. Sometimes we may have non-deictic words, but they would have the property of deictic one. So if you want to do discourse analysis and you want to investigate that how deictic words are used and how the speaker assume that the listener will understand by using such deictic words. So please keep watching these lectures, and these lectures would be really helpful for you and particularly for those who want to do their researches in the field discourse analysis, so they can apply these all tools. In coming lecture, we will discuss more tools to do discourse analysis. Thank you so much.